All right, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube citizens, y'all know who this is. This is your boy, That's True Inferno. Back at it with another Throwback Tunes on another Thursday. And you're probably going, wait. Who are these two guys right here? The answer may surprise you. I'm dead serious. The answer may surprise you. And this is the same duo that I reviewed last week in terms of their debut album, which was called Totally Krossed Out. Yes, this is Kris Kross. Yes, this is Kris Kross. So they released another album called Young, Rich, and Dangerous. And this is actually their third and final studio album that they released. This joint came out in 1996, and actually January 9th, 1996. And this joint came out under Soul Death Records. So obviously, Jermaine Dupri were obviously involved. In fact, he was the producer of this album. And let me clarify from what I said last week. When I said I was not really a Jermaine Dupri fan, when I said that, I was talking about him lyrically. I was talking about him as a rapper. But as a producer, he's pretty good. He's pretty good. And spoiler alert, this album actually proves that. So yeah, there you go with that. So like I was saying, so this album came out under Rough House Records, So Death Records, and Columbia Records. And Jermaine Dupri was the main and really the only producer a part of this album. Now, out of all three albums, unfortunately, this one did the worst in the charts. So it was 15th on the Billboard Top 200 and second on the top R&B/hip hop albums charts. It did not make, as far as I can tell, it did not make any other charts outside from those two. Also, it was certified gold in the US, so it was the worst out of all three albums with certification. So if I went to three, what's the second one? The second one was called The Bomb. That came out in 1993, a little over a year after the debut album came out. And then they took a 3-year hiatus, just about, and released this one. So yeah, and they kind of grew up. Yeah, there you go with that. All right, so let's take a look at these tracks, shall we? So the first, oh guys, and there's only 12 tracks, by the way. Never mind how many skits are a part of this album, but there's only 12 tracks, so unfortunately I can only give you a top 3, not top 5. The first track is called Some Cut Up. Now, this is a song, but it is only 1 hour and 45 minutes long, so I'm gonna consider this to be like a skit. So there you go with that. The second track is, believe it or not, another skit called When the Homies Show Up, followed by the leading single of this album, Tonight's the Night. And when I say first of all, when I say tonight, or tonight's rather, it's TONITE apostrophe S, not the traditional TONIGHT apostrophe S. So tonight and then THA and then night. Ironically enough, night is spelled normally instead of NITE, like tonight was. But yeah, whatever. Then track 4, Interview, another skit. So within the first 4 tracks, we got 3 skits and 1 song. Not a good start. But track number 5, and especially this is only 12 tracks on this album. That's not a good start at all. But then things picked up a bit. Track number 5 is called Young, Rich, and Dangerous, rather. Almost the same title as the album because the word "N" is in there, whereas in the title you got the symbol. Track number 6 is called Live and Die for Hip Hop, which is the second and final single off this album. This joint features Da Brat, Aaliyah, Jermaine Dupri, and Mr. Black. I have no clue who Mr. Black is. Some of you may criticize me for that, but whatever. Track number 7 is called Money, Power, and Fame. Not Respect, Locks, but Money, Power, and Fame. And in the parentheses, 3 things, THANG, that's THATS. There's no apostrophe in there. Necessitize. Oh, I think I butchered that word. NECESSITIES. So yeah, there you go. And that song featured Chris Terry. There you go with that. Now we back to the skit. So we got track number 8. It's a group thang, THANG again. Track number 9, Mackin, without the G but with the apostrophe. Mackin Ain't Easy featuring Mr. Black again. Track number 10 is called DA this time. The Streets Ain't Right, followed by Hey Sexy featuring Chris Terry again. And track number 12 is called Tonight's the Night, and then this is the remix right here. Now here's an interesting thing about the remix. It features somebody, but if you look on Wikipedia, it don't mention who it features unless you look at the Tonight's the Night singles page, which we're about to do right now. So yeah, let's get straight into it. Oh, by the way, there's only like 8 tracks in this album, I believe, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, there's only like 8 tracks on this album that are actually songs that are longer than 2 minutes. So, yeah, there you go with that. All right, let's look at the first single, which is Tonight the Night. So this joint came out November 21st, 1995. And, oh, here's some interesting news, actually. Trey Lawrence provided background vocals for this song. Now, regarding the remix features Redman. So I'm like, that's kind of a big deal to not include him on the actual wiki page of the album. But he was mentioned on the Tonight's the Night wiki page. So let's take a look at this. So obviously the original had a music video. There was not a music video for the remix. And the original did make the charts though. It was 12th on the Billboard Hot 100, 6th on the Billboard Hot R&B/Hip Hop Singles and Tracks, number 1 on the Billboard Hot Rap Singles, 17th on the Billboard Rhythm Top 40, and number 9 on the Billboard Hot Dance Music / Maxi Single Sales. So here we go with this again. And by the end of the year, 1996, it was 64th on the US Billboard Hot 100. And okay, the single came out in 95. The album came out in January. So it stayed on the charts for that long. That's kind of impressive, if I do say so myself. And obviously the song or the instrumental, well, no, they talk about the instrumental of another song, how it was Chop and Screw by DJ Screw. But aside from that, there's nothing else interesting to mention here. But yeah, let's move on to the second and final single of this. Oh wait, no, I take that back. The single was actually certified gold on January 17, 1996. So that's really impressive, if I do say so myself. Now let's move on to the second and final single of this album, which is called Live and Die for Hip Hop. And yes, there is a music video for this as well. So again, this joint features The Brat, Jermaine Dupri, Mr. Black, and even on this Wikipedia page, it says little known rapper. And Aaliyah was a part of this as well. And they used the sample Baby Come to Me by Regina Belle, which is, we'll get more on that part later. Now there is a remix for this song, but they did not make the album. And it features DJ Clark Kent, so DJ Superman. But anywho, this single came out February 8, 1996, so a month after the album dropped. And it did make the chart, so it was 72nd on the Billboard Hot 100 and 11th on the Hot Rap Singles charts. And I believe that is it for the singles. Nope, I take that back. It was 30th out in New Zealand, the official New Zealand charts. And I want to back up to Tonight's the Night. Yeah, because it did make the charts out in New Zealand as well. It was 11th out there, and it was 48th out in Switzerland as well. The Swiss Hit Parade charts as well. So yeah, that's some interesting facts right there. All right, so let me give you guys my favorite tracks off this album for us to, there's only 7 tracks, because Tonight's the Night and the remix, they're basically the same track, like real talk. Well, no, there's 8, my bad. So I think I miscounted. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So actually there's 9 songs? No, there are 8 songs, my bad. All right, so moving on. So Some Cut Up, again, that was the song that was like 1 minute 45 seconds long, so I consider that to be a skit. The beat is cool, it's just not as smooth as the other track. Now let me, and then here's a spoiler alert. Like outside of the skits and Some Cut Up, if you want to consider that a skit or not, outside of those tracks, every other track on this album that are actual songs, they are all smooth. So they are really smooth. Like I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? So yeah, it was crazy. So let's start off with the first track off this album, which is Money, Power, and Fame, 3 things that's necessitized. Whatever. But you get the point. So this one used the I Need Love sample by LL Cool J, which is, and how it was used is really cool. The problem is there's this bell-like instrument throughout the verses. I'm like they should have took that out halfway per each verse. So like at the start of each verse, don't put that bell-like sound in there. But then on the second half of each verse, then go ahead and put that in there. Try to build it up towards the hook. That would have been cool. That would have I don't know if it would have raised it up higher, but it would have made this track really cool. But that hurt it right there. The bass is really cool though, as is the kick. The snare was just cool. And again, this is a semi-smooth track right here. So the track is pretty smooth. It's pretty smooth, but the track is cool rather. It would have been better if that bell-like instrument was not on there throughout the majority of this track. Moving on, Hey Sexy, another smooth joint. The melody is excellent. The bass is really cool. The drums mess this beat up though. The kick is straight, but it could be better obviously, but the snare is bland. And it does not go with this beat at all. There was so much potential in this track because of that melody. That melody / sample is dope as heck, but the drums messed it up. But the track is still really cool nevertheless. The streets ain't right. This one got a conflicting musical themes here because it sounds like it could be something smooth, but if you were to hear the start of this track, it sounds like it could be something hype. Like, it was crazy because they used 2 different samples here. So they used Warning by, not Big Pun, but the notorious B.I.G. Biggie. And they used Talking in Your Sleep by the Romantics. So, again, on one half, it sounds like it could be, like the majority of it could be sound like it's smooth rather. But then you hear Warning, that Warning sample, and you make it sound like it's going to be hot. Like it's going to be hype. And I'm like, dog, those are so conflicting. Moving on though, the bass is really cool though, as is the kick and the snare. The track is still really cool, but it was just like those samples kind of conflict the beat in my opinion. Moving on, Mac It Ain't Easy, another smooth joint. Okay, I'm gonna stop saying smooth joint because just about like all these tracks that are actual songs are smooth. The sample is really cool, bass is really cool, as is the kick. The snare is cool for this beat, but could be better. But the track is really cool nevertheless. All right, I'm about to give you guys the top 3 tracks off this album. The third best track off this album is Tonight's the Night. So again, now, unlike, this is really smooth right here. So now, during the verse, there's this high-pitched instrument that you can hear throughout the verses. Get rid of that. Like, get rid of that. Use it just for the hook, but get rid of that. It could have been so much better. It got some potential. Get rid of that high-pitched instrument during the verses, and it'll be better. The bass is really cool. The kick is just cool though, but the snare is really cool. Again, got some potential. Just get rid of that high-pitched instrument, wherever that is, during the verses, but the track is still really cool as is. Second best track off this album, Young, Rich, and Dangerous. Again, another smooth track here. The piano is on point right here. This joint is dope. The piano portion is anyway. The bass is really cool. The melody for the hook is cool. The kick is really cool, as is the snare. Overall, the track is really cool. Now, the best track off this album, and I have not heard The Bomb, but this could possibly be the best Kris Kross song ever right here. And that is Live and Die for Hip Hop. So, ignoring the fact that Jermaine Dupri is on this song, and we don't know much about Mr. Black, but this is a smooth track right here. The Baby Come to Me by Regina Bell. Oh my gosh, that sample was used correctly. It is extremely dope how that sample was used. It was extremely dope. The bass is excellent. The kick is really cool. The snare is really cool, and it works here. This track is actually excellent. The beat was really on point. Jermaine Dupri really did a good job here. All right. So let's go. So there you go. Live and Die for Hip Hop. That is the best track off this album. And quite frankly, the best Kris Kross track ever. All right, let's look at some professional ratings. And there's only one. AllMusic gave it 3 out of 5 stars. And I believe that's all in terms of what I can see. So what do I think about this album? Well, again, I have not heard The Bomb, but I'm going to take a wild guess and say that Young, Rich, and Dangerous is Kris Kross' best album ever. I have to give it a 4.25 out of 5 stars. I recommend you guys this is tough. If you want to download it, whether it's for free or you pay to download it, or whatever the case may be around that range, knock yourself out. If you want a physical copy of this album, knock yourself out, because this is their last studio album. And unfortunately, the darker skinned cat, he actually died in 2013. Although they could have made more albums from 1996 to 2013, but this is the last studio album from Kris Kross. So if you want a physical copy of this, go ahead and knock yourself out. But at the very least, I would recommend that you download it and keep it. At the very least, 4.25 out of 5 stars. So, and before I wrap this up, I should have done this at the beginning. I forgot to do this. Shout out to David Bentz. He's the one who commented on my last week's video where I reviewed Totally Krossed Out on Facebook. And he mentioned this song, Tonight's the Night. And yeah, I found a song. It was part of this album. And yeah, this made them feel like a completely different duo. So yeah, if you have not heard, not just the song, but this album as a whole, Young, Rich, and Dangerous, I recommend you do that. Obviously, the link to the stream, where you can stream the song at the very least, will be in the description box below, as is the case in every one of my Throwback Tunes videos, wherever I review the album. I already put the streams on them in the description box. So, with all of that said, I'm gonna call it a wrap. Y'all know who this is. This is your boy, the new Jay Gatsby, aka the new Stephen A. Smith, saying peace out, y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Yeah.